I was sitting on his couch, completely dressed, already thinking about heading home. My mind was made up. And then he touched me in one small, unexpected place, and suddenly every reason I had to leave just disappeared. Surprised, I couldn't get up anymore. I'm a woman, and there are certain kinds of touch that shift everything inside us. The kind we never ask for, because it's not something words can easily explain. And there's one in particular that made me say 4 words I had never said to any man before. I'll get to that. But I'll also tell you about the one mistake that once made me call a ride in the middle of the night and leave without looking back. Sighs, I've been that woman too. You've been around women your whole life, but there's a difference between touching someone and actually being felt. When a woman truly feels you, she doesn't want to walk away. The first kind of touch most men overlook is simple, but powerful. Thoughtful. It's placing your hand on her lower back, not to guide her, not to push, not to fidget. Just a steady, warm hand, placed once with intention and left there without hesitation. That one moment separates uncertainty from confidence. A woman can sense instantly if a man is unsure of himself. If his hand hesitates, she feels it. If it's steady and calm, she feels that too. Her body reacts before her thoughts even catch up. She either leans into it or pulls away. There's no in between. I remember being on a second date with someone I had already decided was just nice. Nothing more. As we stood up to leave, his hand rested on my lower back. Not controlling, not adjusting, just there, like it belonged. And something shifted in me. I didn't plan to stay longer, but I did. One place turned into another, and suddenly I didn't want the night to end. That's the difference a single, confident touch can make. Most men either hover awkwardly or overdo it. The truth is, it's about being calm and certain. Place your hand once, mean it, and let it speak for you. Then there's another kind of touch that lingers even after it's gone. It's subtle, almost invisible, but incredibly powerful. Imagine you're in the middle of a conversation, eye contact steady, and your fingertip slowly traces along her inner arm, from her elbow down to her wrist. No rush, no attention drawn to it, just a quiet, deliberate movement. That part of her body is rarely touched, and when it is, her senses wake up instantly. It's not about grabbing or holding. It's about the slow, intentional motion that feels personal. She might not say anything, but later, when she's alone, that exact feeling will replay in her mind again and again. Most people move too fast. They rush through moments that should build naturally. And that brings me to something even deeper. Right before a kiss, there's a space that most people ignore. That small window where anticipation lives. Instead of rushing in, take a moment. Let your hands come up slowly, gently holding her face, your fingers resting near her ears, your thumbs along her cheeks. In that moment, everything else fades away. She feels seen, completely focused on, like she's the only thing that matters right then. Her thoughts start racing ahead, imagining what's about to happen, even before it does. That's where the real connection forms. I remember a moment like that so clearly. He stopped talking mid-sentence, looked at me, and lifted his hands to my face. There was no rush, no awkwardness. Just calm, steady presence. I could feel the anticipation building so strongly that it almost took my breath away. Before anything even happened, I already knew I didn't want it to stop. That feeling stayed with me long after. There's a shift that happens when touch is done with awareness instead of habit. A woman stops analyzing whether she likes you and starts feeling something much deeper. And once that feeling takes hold, it's not easy to walk away from it. There's a place on a woman's body that isn't just sensitive, it's deeply vulnerable. It's the back of her neck. From an instinctive level, exposing that area signals trust. So when a man's hand rests there with calm confidence, not rushed, not uncertain, her body feels two opposite things at once, a sense of risk and a sense of safety. And that mix is what makes the moment so powerful. It's why even the most composed woman can close her eyes without thinking about it. I remember talking to someone for a while, nothing intense, just easy conversation. Then he leaned closer to speak near my ear, and at the same time his hand moved to the back of my neck. It wasn't forceful, just steady and warm, his thumb resting along my jaw. I'm someone who doesn't get easily shaken. I hold eye contact, I stay in control. But in that moment, my eyes closed on their own, my head tilted slightly, and something shifted inside me. I let go of control without even realizing it, and strangely, I didn't want it back. That's what this kind of touch does. It makes a woman who is always in charge feel like she can finally relax that control. It's not about pressure or intensity, it's about presence. A hand placed there gently, holding rather than grabbing, creates a feeling of being both safe and desired at the same time. And the key is not to rush it. Let it exist without trying to turn it into something else. That stillness is what makes it stay in her mind long after. Everything builds toward a moment that feels even more unexpected. The kind of touch that doesn't move at all, yet changes everything. A hand resting on her inner thigh, completely still. No movement, no escalation, just warmth and presence. It sounds simple, almost too simple, but that's exactly why it works. Most people rush, thinking they need to do more, when in reality, doing less creates more impact. When a hand rests there and stays, it communicates something different. It doesn't ask for anything. It doesn't push forward. It just exists. And in that space, her body starts to respond on its own. She stops analyzing, stops questioning, and instead begins to feel something deeper forming without effort. It's the difference between reacting and genuinely wanting. I remember that moment clearly. We had spent the evening together. Everything felt natural, unforced. Then his hand rested there, warm and still. Seconds passed, then more, and I became aware of my own breathing, my own heartbeat, like something inside me was deciding before my thoughts could catch up. And instead of pulling away, I leaned closer. That was my answer, not spoken, but clear. There's something important to understand, though. One wrong shift can undo everything. A sudden grip, too tight, too forceful, changes the entire feeling. What once felt calm and intentional suddenly feels like pressure, like something being taken instead of shared. And the reaction is immediate. The connection disappears, not slowly, but all at once. On the other side, hesitation can do the same damage. Light, unsure touches that come and go without commitment don't create connection either. They feel uncertain, like a question instead of a statement. And that uncertainty leaves nothing behind. Not even disappointment, just emptiness. What actually works is consistency in how you show up through touch. Starting with a steady, confident presence, then allowing moments to deepen naturally without rushing. A hand on her back that feels certain. A light, intentional trace that lingers in memory. A pause before closeness that builds anticipation. A gentle hold that makes her feel safe enough to let go. And finally, stillness that gives her space to feel on her own. It's not about techniques or tricks. It's about intention. When touch comes from a place of attention and awareness, she feels it instantly. When it comes from trying to get something, she feels that too. The difference is always clear to her, even if she never says it out loud. And there are small things that matter more than people think. Warm hands instead of cold ones. Focusing on one point instead of overwhelming her with too much at once. Paying attention to how she responds, whether she leans in or pulls away. Every touch is a conversation, and her body is always answering. The biggest mistake is only reaching out when you expect something in return. The real connection is built in the quiet moments, during conversation, laughter, or even silence. That's when trust forms, and everything else becomes natural. In the end, it's simple. Don't touch like you're trying to get somewhere. Touch like you're already present in the moment. That's what makes the difference between being someone she enjoys being around and someone she doesn't want to leave.